Good day, classmates, and good day, ma'am. And this time, I will going to present to you my topic, which talk about the English versus Englishes and the standard English. And this lessons, you will be able to learn the definition or the difference between Englishes, and standard English. Now, I will going to discuss with you the English versus Englishes. So the first one is English. English referred to the language spoken by a native English speakers in England. So English originally is referred to the language spoken by people in England. However, as English spread throughout the world, it began to change in different countries. And these changes lead to different English, which are varieties of English is spoken in different regions. Each of English might be different from word, grammar, pronunciation, and even spelling is influenced by cultures and languages. So therefore, Englishes refer to the different form of English spoken across the world, each influenced by local cultures, historical context, and social factors. So, remember that Englishes is varieties of English, which is Englishes is spoken in different regions or countries around the world are examples of varieties of English, which is British English and American English. British English is commonly recognized as the standard form in the United Kingdom. There are distinctive vocabulary differences such as flat for apartment. British English also has a unique spelling convention such as using organized instead of the American organized with letter Z. And American English naman is spoken primarily in the US, shares many similarities with British English but also features a distinct vocabulary. Apartment versus flat, instead, actually they are same meaning but they are different pronunciation and spelling. It has also been shaped by the cultural and historical context of the United States. And now we're going to talk about the language evolution. Diba? English has incorporated elements from numerous languages, which means English has borrowed words and ideas from many different languages like French, including the Latin and different indigenous tongues or native languages. This has led to a mix of different expressions, slang, and ways of using grammar. This time, we're going to talk about the three category of circles of English by Brad Scotcher in 1985. The first one is inner circle, and which is native speakers wherein English is their primary language. Example of the countries who their primary language is English is UK, US, and Canada. And the next one is outer circle wherein the English is their second language. Example of the countries is India and Nigeria. And the third one is expanding circle, which is countries where English is used as a foreign language. The example of a country is China and Brazil. So actually there's a lot of examples na country, but I include some of this to give you an example. Now we're going to talk about the standard English. This refers to a prestigious codified version of the language that is widely accepted as the correct form for formal settings such as education, business, and media. Meaning, standard English is a formalized form of the language that is generally acknowledged as the correct form for communication in formal, educational, and professional context. It is influenced by accepted rules of grammar, spelling, and usage to facilitate efficient communication among many English speaking regions rather than being specific to any one area. Now, we are going to talk about the characteristic of a standard English. The first one is grammar. Grammar is a standard English that follows a formal structure, like for example is a subject verb agreement or correct use of tense. Like example with that is she is running instead of she are running. That is wrong. The correct there is she is running. Okay, that is the correct structures of grammar. On the other hand, the next one is a vocabulary. Vocabulary naman is standard English avoids the use of colloquial terms or regional slang that might confuse non-native or international speakers. The ano there is the colloquial term is mga gonna, wanna, ain't, and so on. There's a lot of colloquial terms that you must avoid in order for you to understand by the international speakers or to avoid confuse or to someone, o diba? And then also sa regional slang is you must avoid that one to communicate in someone or in strangers or foreigners. And the next one is spelling. Spelling naman is a standardized or standardized spelling conventions. For example, is a color in American English and color in British English. Even though they are different spelling, but in a correct but they are same meaning, I mean. And then also is a pronunciation. It often reflects a neutral, easily understood pronunciation that avoid regional accents. So if you have a better communication to someone, you must avoid a regional accents, okay, or mga slangs na accent na maaring maging and magkaroon ng misunderstanding sa ibang kausap or to have a communication in foreigners or strangers or in international settings. And the next one is a rule of a standard English. The first one is a global communication. Standard English helps ensure clear communication across different English speaking countries. It used in official documents, academic, writing, and professional environment. So sa global communication, it is necessary to use a standard English, of course, to be able to understand or to avoid confusions to someone. And also, standard or rule of standard English is to use the official documents, academic writing, and professional environments. And the next one is education and media. It's commonly used in textbook, formal speeches, the news, and academic articles. And now we're going to talk about the challenges and criticism of a standard English. The first one is linguistic imperialism. Linguistic imperialism refers to the idea that when one language like standardized English becomes a dominant in the world, it can push aside other languages and dialect. Critics say that forcing everyone to use the same correct English can make non-native speakers feel less important or even erase the richness of different regional languages. In other words, it's the belief that spreading one language too much can harm a linguistic diversity. And the next one is cultural identity. The promotion of standard English can diminish the value of local dialects and cultural expressions, leading to concerns about the loss of linguistic diversity. So meaning, kasi ang cultural identity is closely tied to language because the way people speak reflects their traditions, values, and community. Where they're too much focus or speaking standard English, it can make people feel pressured to abandon their local languages or dialects. Over time, this can lead to a loss of unique ways of speaking that represent their cultures. In other words, when people shift to using only standard English, they might lose part of their cultural identity as local expressions and regional vernaculars fade away. Last part is language variation. Language is dynamic and insisting on one correct form ignores the natural evolution and richness richness of English as spoken across different regions. Language is always changing, and different communities develop their own ways of speaking over time. When people insist on one correct form of English, they ignore the natural growth and diversity of the language. Language variations such as regional accents or slangs shows the richness and variety of cultures. Instead of seeing these differences as mistakes, they should be celebrated because they reflect the diverse way people communicate and express themselves. This is all my part, which is talk about the standard English and English versus Englishes. And this time, I would like you to read the quote, which talk about an investment in knowledge pays the best interest by Benjamin Franklin. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Bye bye.